throughout the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, philosophers were largely concerned with what can we know and how can we know it. Lots of reasons for this. First of all, it's been a problem going all the way back to Plato. But equally important, I think, is that the world was so growing and expanding. Cultures from everywhere were discovering there were other cultures out there, people they'd never seen or heard of before. This kind of change leads people to figure out, what can I know? What can be true? What can be certain? Where does knowledge come from? If you've seen the videos I've done on Descartes and Leibniz and Spinoza, you know that they're all about reason. They're about thinking it through. Logic. Reason. Not experience. On the other hand, we talked about Locke and Berkeley in another video. Hope you've seen it. I want to talk now about the great master of the British empiricism, that knowledge comes through the senses, David Hume. Locke, as I say, is the great initiator of this program. Locke held that human beings were born as tabula rasa, blank slates. We have nothing. We come into this world with open eyes, open ears, and all set to learn, with nothing already in place. The other side of the English Channel, they're all arguing, no, everything's up here. We come in, and it's just a matter with some basic principles. It's about fitting those principles together. As we fit them together, we'll see that they're in the world, because that's what it's all about. And the British side says, no. It's all about experience. Until you've done something, till you've seen something, till someone somewhere has had an experience and shared it with you, us, there is no knowledge. Big part of that is about what plays a role in defining truth. The rationalists want to say that truth is determined by reason, holding things together, showing that they cohere into a rational, logical whole, with no real thought to comparing to the world, because after all, the world we can be fooled about. As Descartes points out, the world is simply the product of what is the logical outcome that things can best fit together in, says Leibniz. The world is just essentially an illusion, says Spinoza. When you see the world, you're not seeing God in his totality, and it is God that is truth, that is knowledge, that is everything. The experience side, the empiricist side, wants to argue that, no, that's not it. You have that blank slate, it starts getting written on. Then you compare the writing you have on your slate to what you see in the world. It's true that when we get to Berkeley, he's going to say, well, what I'm actually comparing it to is my experiences in my own mind. And Hume's not going to take us too far away from that. But nevertheless, it is this experiential component, this ability to identify my logical thinking with experiences in the world, or remembering that the world isn't something separate from us, but a part of us. We are in the world is in us. It's all in our heads. Hume proposes that there are two kinds of things, two kinds of statements, two kinds of approaches to our experiences that we can take. One part of Hume's fork is what he refers to as relations of ideas. These are the kinds of things that are formed in our mind by that experience, that we tie together the concepts that we encounter in our experiences. This is a brown cow. We have had experiences of brown, we've had experiences of cow, we tie them together. Brown cow. Now there are other sorts of matters. He refers to them as matters of fact, and these things are necessary connections determined through logic and mathematics. The relations of ideas he refers to as synthetic. We make them through our experience of the world. We synthesize them through our experiences. Matters of fact are analytically true. They are necessarily true because they are simply analyzing the fundamental connections things make at the most basic level. Hume also wants to talk about how do we know some things. Some things, it's not that he wants to say you know them without experience, because you have to have the experience to have the building blocks. But once you've got the experience in place, you'll find it doesn't actually call for experience to explain it. Like math, it's a priori. You could really know it without having experienced it, if only it was possible to know anything without experiencing it. It's not something that you have to synthesize. It's analyzed. It's there already. Once you look at it, you go, well, there it is. I've known that all along. You know, as I say, on the other hand, he has what he refers to as our usual sort of thing, the a posteriori, the after the fact thing. Again, there's nothing ever going to be the case that analyzing the term cow is going to lead you to this one being brown. The only way you're going to know that is if you experience brown and the cow and then have this experience that puts the two ideas together. Whereas you know that this is going to be a four-legged mammalian bovine creature if it's a cow. So that's analytically true. And you would know that had you never encountered a cow at all. Had someone provided you with the ideas of cow and bovine and four legs, and you'd still be able to go, oh, that's cows. Yes, I understand cows. Cows are cow-like. But someone has to experience them in order for them to be known. Neither is free of experience in terms of it coming into the population of knowledge possible, but it is possible for one to know certain kinds of analytic truths without having to experience them directly yourself. So we can write on that blank slate of Locke's either using our unique input to us directly or from input supplied to us by others. We can learn without having to see it for ourselves. Our mind has the power to analyze truths given to us by others, as well as the ability to synthesize truths on our own. Why does all this matter? It drives home, one, the need to match your ideas with the world. What worried persons like Hume is that if all you do is think about what might work, you'll never get around to testing what does work. And what actually does work is what's important. Let me read this because it's so important. I don't want to get the quote wrong. Hume says, if we take in our hand any volume of divinity or school metaphysics, for instance, let us ask, does it contain any abstract reasoning concerning quantity or number? No. Does it contain any experimental reasoning concerning matters of fact and existence? No. Commit it then to the flames, where it can contain nothing but sophistry and illusion. He's trying to say that the scientific method of being able to quantify and identify and reproduce ideas, experiences, and subject matter makes something worth knowing, makes something a meaningful part of our intellectual and cultural and economic and political lives. And those things which are merely speculated upon or extracted from non-experiential sources, from history, from tradition, these things need to be gotten rid of. The way forward does not look back, it looks forward. And to get there, we're going to need tools that enable us to predict the future, not guess at it. To describe a future that is a future and not merely a recapitulation of the past. That's a lot to think about. It's a lot to talk about. Hope you keep talking philosophy.